Hey guys, it's Hegemony here, and today I wanted to share my Burning Legion Marauder tank. And the reason why it's burning is because A, I use Righteous Fire, and B, it's because I use Dominating Blow and Conversion Trap. So the idea is to recruit selectively different minions to become a part of your army. And most people will say, how do you use Dominating Blow? Dominating Blow is so expensive. You have to use it with the Soul Taker. More often than not, that is the case. However, the way I'm using Dominating Blow is a strategic way because I'm using a level 1. This forces the mana cost to be low enough to where I can run it on Blood Magic, even as Righteous Fire. If you notice, I have most of my mana and all my auras reserved on my mana, so I only have 58 mana left. So what does that leave me to cast? An Ice Nova. Ice Nova only costs 8 mana. I run that on mana, and I can run Conversion Trap on mana. For the Righteous Fire aspect, I rely on my Burning degen to do the bulk of the damage when I go through maps to clear and mez mobs. And by mez I mean using Dominating Blow. If we look at the Dominating Blow cost, it only costs 123 when it's attached to a Blood Magic gem. This one's level 20, so it's very good. I have it linked with Melee Splash level 17 and Fast Attacks and increased duration for the minion duration. And the benefit to dominating mobs are the auras that they do bring, and the overall distraction, tankiness, and they do some decent damage, especially like Devourers and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you essentially the idea. But before that, I'm going to show you that I do snapshot the Righteous Fire with a Carcass Jack and 2 Red Beaks. And the reason why this works is because if you look at the Red Beak, it says 100% increased damage on low life. So what do I do to get on low life? I have a 2 link right here. Blood Magic and Purity of Lightning. This will work with any 40% aura, whether it be Purity of Fire, Purity of the Elements, any 40% will be fine. This will put you at low life. So what I'll do is I'll put the Carcass Jack on so I can get the increased area portion and the 12% damage. Both the health on this and the ES will increase the Righteous Fire damage. That's why it's qualityed. These aren't very good rolls, but they could be a lot better. If we look at Righteous Fire, it says you burn for 90% of your maximum life per second. You also burn 70% of your maximum ES per second. However, you do 50% of your max ES as fire damage and 50% of your max life as fire damage to the enemy. So the idea is the more HP you get, the more ES you get, the more damage you will do to yourself and to the enemy. So you have to have a lot of particular defenses to back this ability up. So I'm going to go ahead and snapshot my Purity of Lightning, and as soon as I put it up, it puts me at a very high risk, especially in Invasion League. Like, you can't really mess this up, and you don't want to do this around any mobs. But we have a snapshot of Purity of Lightning immediately followed by Righteous Fire, and then immediately I'm going to switch to my Rise of the Phoenix. And my Rise of the Phoenix gives me +8 to max fire resist, which allows me to get 90% fire resist. Now the resist is the most important part of combating the actual damage that you do to yourself. After that, it's going to be life regeneration by the percentage, because Righteous Fire is a percentage based ability. So the Carcass Jack is optional. It's going to give you that increased area, make it feel a little bit better, and it's going to give you a little bit of area damage. And the life ES is also nice for increasing the burn. So all around, very good item to snapshot. So I'm going to switch to my Red Beaks, cast Righteous Fire, switch so that I stop taking degenerating damage, and then I hit a Fire Flask to heal up. I'll usually hit a Fire Flask and an instant flash just to get me a little bit out of that danger zone, but it usually will take 2 fire flasks to top myself off. You go around And since I did put Dominating Blow in my chest on a 5-link, you are going to have to put Dominating Blow each time if you use it on left click. I use it on left click as my main thing, so you can go around and rely on Righteous Fire to do the bulk of the damage, and the way Dominating Blow works is you only have to tag it at the end, right before its death. So similar to power charges, where it would net you power charges, even if you just tagged the mob right before it died, you would still get it. Frenzy charges, Blood Rage, Blood Rage relies you to get the last hit. So even if you're attacking into a lot of mobs doing a massive amount of damage, as someone else is culling and stealing all the kills, your frenzy charges still have a chance of falling off. Power charges, as long as you get somewhere close to the end, you will get the charges. And same thing with Dominating Blow. So you go around and tag the mobs that you want to recruit. So I want this guy, and basically I take all of his auras. He becomes part of my minion army, and you can use Conversion Trap to either isolate another deadly, say you have like a Storm Herald guy that's like an archer on this area. I would just throw a Conversion Trap on him, and then that Storm Herald will start to be, you know, friendly, and therefore it would, you know, stack shock stack mobs and all those kinds of things. So if you look at my weapon, it actually does like no damage. It's an Arumvarax, it's a level 18 weapon, but I use this in all high-end maps, and all it really relies is that you have attack speed, and because this has life on hit, that also helps a little bit with the melee splash. Not really, it's not super significant. The drawback is minus 20% reduced rarity, but I get 180 resist just because I use this weapon. So very, very, very powerful Righteous Fire thing. This allows me to get items with no resist, and I can get chaos resist. So I can just focus on getting cheaper items, like just a single chaos res and high armor and high HP. You can look in the thread, and I have a price that I bought each one of my items for, and I told you like how much this build would cost. If we look at my gauntlets, they're nothing too special. These are pretty decent. I would prefer them to have like 500 armor-ish, but you know, they'll do. I was able to single out a Chaos life regen, and more life belt, all because of thanks to Arumvarax. If I didn't use Arumvarax, I would have to use something significantly better than this belt, and I more than likely would not have positive 30 Chaos resist. My boots are Blood Dance, and the reason why I use Blood Dance is you do increased damage to enemies when they're on low life per frenzy charge, and when you're running around, you'll see that I generate frenzy charges very, very well. And the mechanic on the for generating them, it says 30% chance to gain frenzy charge on kill. So if you're clearing at a very good rate, you will get frenzy charges, and each one of those frenzy charges will give you 1% life regen, which will help you immensely when you do take damage to heal up quicker. So you see I'm just running through and I'm automatically gaining frenzy charges. Similar to kind of like the Blood Rage. Blood Rage is more reliable, but this is like, as long as you have momentum, you shouldn't ever really run out of frenzy charges. Just keeping 3 frenzy charges, which is 3% life regen. And when enemies do get low, since I have 3 charges, I get 18% increased damage when they get low. It also gives me dex, movement speed, and movement speed per frenzy charge. The reduced attack and cast speed is kind of annoying, but you know, all in all, pretty cool. You also get gore footprints as a bonus, but I have it written over with Seraph's radiant footprints. Also, let's take a look at my defenses. So I'm overall very, very, very tanky. I rely on stuff like self-casting, Enduring Cry, Immortal Call. If you're familiar with my builds and my stream, you know that I like self-casting, Enduring Cry, and Immortal Call, and I like controlling when, picking and choosing when I get my physical and vulnerability, rather than using them on cast and damage taken. This allows me to level up the gem to max level and extend Immortal Call that's nearly 10 seconds. It will be very soon. In this league, my Immortal Call is only level 17, and my increased duration needs 8% more quality. So right now I could hit a 10-second immortal call being physically immune. As far as fire damage goes, I can be fire immune with just a fire flask. It goes to 100%. This means you can do Megara without taking a single point of damage, except when she's minus maxed, or what's it called? Yeah, except for when she's just minus max. She can have turbo, she can have frenzy. She won't do any damage unless your resist is less than 100%. This will go up 91 when my purity of fire hits 20, because I'll get +4. Also, the aura nodes over here increase your purity of fire's potency. So we'll take a look at my life regen with 3 frenzy charges. Here we go. Alright, we have 3 frenzy charges. My life regen is at 747. That is very, very good. Meaning when I pop a fire immune flask, or a fire resistance flask, which makes me fire immune, I'm getting that full 747 life regen, which is very fast healing. I also use a seething flask that removes staunching. So overall, this build is very, very tanky against fire mobs. They do like little to no damage, and there's a lot of invasion bosses with nasty rain of fire and you know, fire effects. You know, burning arrow, vol burning arrow. It's hits you for very, very little. So yeah, we have 47% block chance, 24% spell block, and we have 30 chaos resist. All these numbers can definitely improve. My gear is not amazing. It's pretty good. The build was very cheap, 10,000 armor. And the reason why I have 10,000 armor is not because I have iron reflexes. It's because I went Marauder and I have all these nodes that multiply armor. So you're looking for pure armor pieces to scale that, and you get steel skin, stuff like that here. These are very good nodes over here. As you can see, my chest has 1521 armor. My helmet has 500. This can go to like 1200. I've seen crazy helms. Gloves can easily go to like 400 plus. You can use different boots. I found in group play, when your group DPS is not so great and people are culling and stuff, you're not really getting the frenzy charge on kill effect. So if you do want to swap to some tankier boots in group play, it's a much more viable option in my opinion. You just got to keep in mind that you are going to lose 37 dex. So if you need 37 dex for whatever part of your build, at the moment I'm only using fast attacks, which is 103, so I could lose. Actually, if I took out the frenzy boots, I wouldn't be able to use this fast attacks. I'd have to use a lower ranked fast attacks. And as far as leap slam, same thing. This would be deactivated because I would need more dex. However, I don't find myself really switching out these boots. Every group that I've been in, as far as mapping wise, has been very high DPS and very efficient in their map clears. So I just leave them on, but I do have backup boots in case I do change my mind. They're no doubt undoubtedly the best boots to, for soloing. And we take a look at my ring. I alch this ring. It's very good for what I need. Evasion. I can still evade. I don't have unwavering stance. I can still evade enemy hits. Life, 15 all res and 15 chaos resist. I chanced this one, although the ES does nothing for me, and ES is one of those things that get kind of wasted when you're switching over from a snapshot, because you never get that ES back. It's always going to be degenerative unless you pop a fire flask. When you take 0 fire damage, then whatever ES you have will count as effective health. Other than that, it's just extra damage on your righteous fire to degen on you. I'm using a Stone of Last War to convert my block chance of 47%. This is I think critical as far as the success in invasion and dealing with those pesky magic mobs and just overall mitigating spells outright. Also, since I don't have unwavering stance, it also helps in that category too. So now we talk about Elemental Equilibrium. This is an ability that's usually tied either with like a Righteous Fire Cyclone build, where they have like either a little amount of cold damage on something, a ring. I don't recommend it with Cyclone, mainly because when you run with other people and they run Wrath or Anger, you do start to, or especially Anger would actually mess up your damage and give mobs a lot of fire resistance if you were running a Cyclone build with that being your equilibrium source. So I use an inexpensive level 1 Ice Nova in my shield. It's 20 quality, so I get the increased radius. So as I'm going around, I'm casting a super cheap, so cheap that I can indefinitely cast this over and over again on my Marauder. It is applying a level 20 elemental weakness. This is important because this gem, not on blood magic, costs 70 mana. So even if I were to remove this Ice Nova, I wouldn't even be able to cast elemental weakness on my mana. So this is a good way of bypassing applying Ice Nova and being able to cast LE Weak max level with Curse on hit. Eventually this will be like 50% chance to hit. Every time I go around, I just Ice Nova mobs. And we'll go ahead and we'll make another Dox instance, and I'll show you. It's very, very simple to do. It's going to give the mob plus cold resistance, and it's going to reduce their elemental resistance to fire by up to 99% if he is successfully cursed through Curse on Hit gem. So I do this. Alright, 3 of them were cursed, but I ended up just like spamming it. Eventually they just all get cursed, and they all have to deal with elemental weakness. This is what an unsnapshotted with Carcass Jack Righteous Fire looks like. It's it's a lot smaller, but like I said, it's more like a luxury thing. So anything that has high HP or is very tanky, you'll want to look to recruit. So this guy is one of those mobs that are like a lot of fire damage. Let's see if I can get him to do the AoE cone, and you're just completely immune to the fire damage by hitting a Ruby Flask. Anyways, he doesn't look like he's going to do it. So you get the idea behind Righteous Fire and how Righteous Fire works, how the snapshotting works. Now I'm going to tell you how to use Dominating Blow, which mobs really benefit your build and which mobs to avoid. Yes, not every mob is good to mez. And some of the worst mobs to control are the ones with Discipline Aura. Any mob with a Discipline Aura is going to substantially increase your ES by 5.5k ES. This means Righteous Fire is going to update its damage done to you, and you are going to slowly fall down, 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 down. While it's manageable if you have full flasks to pot through it and just hope that your minion falls over before that, or you can also pull out your gem. If you pull out Dominating Blow, you will lose your minion. So I'm gonna go do that right now. So say you recruited a Discipline mob. Okay, these guys have no HP, they just fell over. Oh, I don't have Dominating Blow in my bar, that's why. Say I got all these minions, and say one of them has a Discipline Aura. I don't want them. All you need to do is pull out the gem and they fall over. That's a good way to stop the damage altogether. But every time you do that, you're going to make sure you put it back on your bar. The substantially increased physical and increased damage aren't really going to affect you other than your minions and things like that, but they will affect your group substantially. So you want to get the Haste Aura, the Regen Aura, and the Resist Aura. The Resist Aura will put you far over the cap. Right now I can run, LE Weak pretty much fine. I'm not capped. I think I'm 4 lightning away and 5 lightning or 5 cold away from having elemental weakness or frostbite or conductivity on me for free. But the idea is, get so far over the cap that when you do get cursed, that you don't take these insane bursts of damage. Ultimately, that's what's going to be the killer, is when you get that Ellie weak, you know, ball lightning combo, or that flammability. Well, actually, flammability won't do anything to you, but the Rima thing where you get frostbite and, you know, chain freeze pulse trapped, something like that, or, you know, whatever that fire or that frost rain is, that cold rain. Those are the kind of bursts you will avoid by going way over the cap, and a Rumvarax allows you to do that. There's one other mob that's important that you don't want to dominate, and those are the zombies that drop chaos clouds. Mainly the ones near Hillock, the ones that he spawns. Those guys, if you dominate those, as soon as they're done with its duration, those clouds become hostile. So say you're in a party and you have a bunch of zombie minions that form chaos clouds when they die. Guess what? You can probably kill your whole group if they have shitty chaos resist because of the dominating blow, making it hostile. They're not going to expect it. They're going to be like, oh, he's got his whole army, whatever. But once they die, they will form clouds. Also, the other ones that you cannot dominate are fracture mobs and volatiles and bosses. You can't dominate bosses. But everything else, it's fair game. I tried to stick with getting the regen ones, focus on getting the regen haste ones, and then if I have other people in my party that get substantial damage or substantial physical auras, those are nice. Reflect ones are, you know, abysmal, but whatever you want to do, build up your army. You can get up to, like, you know, 50 minions, you know, depending upon what kind of DPS your group is carrying. So the duration nodes here, right over here, are proximal to everywhere, you know, my build. Although these won't increase my, you know, dominating blow duration. These are similar to these but weaker, and the reason why I didn't get these is because it's way too far. To get resolute technique would be nice, but it's just way too many points. So I went ahead and went with the closest thing available. However, you can spend 6 points, pick up Sentinel, which is a little bit more armor and evasion and all res, and then get into these skill duration nodes. These will increase your duration on your minions and how long you have them for. Also Immortal Call and things like that. But these are definitely nice nodes to extend your curses, and almost makes it feel like permacurse when you get like all these and run it with increased duration. Outside of that, I only have Holy Fire. These are both damage done to you increases and damage done to the enemy. They're very, very efficient nodes. And then you have Growth and Decay, which is damage but supplemented by life regen. More life regen and more damage over time. This is a very good node. Didn't really struggle with too many stats in this build. It's so easy doing this as a Marauder. You could do this as other builds and then get other means of defense. If you notice recently, I had 2 points in buff duration, but I spec'd 1 point out of here and got these 2% additional block nodes. For the most part, that's pretty much the extent of the build. Using Dominating Blow, using Conversion Trap to mez totems even, since Righteous Fire cannot kill totems unless you have minions to do that for you. I usually will mez an Undying Totem. So say like there's a pack of Skellies and there's an Undying Totem. Guess what? I can't do damage with my Righteous Fire. So what I'll do is I'll just throw a Conversion Trap on it, and all those other mobs will become killable, and then I'll just leave the totem up. For the most part, I just leave the totem up. But when you amass such an army, the army will end up killing the totems for you. So depending upon what you pick up. I hope you enjoyed the guide. I'll do more guides later, and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube.